This is my other Yves Reynaud deck. This is the Jean-Pierre Payen 1713 Tarot. It's a Marseille deck. And it's in the coffin box. And I have 92. I don't think this is the most popular deck that they have, because there was only a small printing, but it's charming in its own way, and you can kind of tell here. I mean, just some of the shading, the very woodblock, angular imagery. But I like this deck. I just like the whole Marseille tradition, and this was one I recently acquired. See the back of the box. It says 1713 Jean-Pierre Payen. And there's the two cards. This is 1,500 copies, but I have 92. So maybe they're not selling very well because I just got this. And this has been out since, let's see, on the box, usually tells you, oh, 2016, yeah. There's, let me tell you who Jean-Pierre Payen is. Two cards. The backs are, I like this back. It's sort of this flower pattern with the dots, and it kind of plays tricks on your eyes with the lines. You can see it. And let's go through the cards and see how they are. So here's the way they're cut, and they slide well. I mean, they're very angular, and they are not too rough. They slide, fairly easily. So we have the Magician, and you see it's the lines they're faint. The faces are these angular, the hair, the hands, the colors. There's the Emperor and the Empress. Similar scepters. They have the shields. And here's the interesting, the Pope. Now this one, there's no cross. The crosses are gone. We have the crosses on the gloves. But this is more like some sort of bulb thing. It's really hard to tell that these are two monks kneeling. We have the bird nest hair, but and then we have this random hat here. Here we have a strange sort of Cupid figure with blindfold, but there's also some sort of thing there. Chariot, with the faces on the shoulders, the raised feet of the horses, but the horses are staring at each other. The canopy, the wheels barely visible, the shield in the middle with nothing on it, Justice. Here she almost looks like she has angel wings. The sword. The sword has a beautiful, it's shading. It looks like it could be metallic. She has this dot on her headdress. The Hermit. His head is popped right off the top. A big swath of blue. Wheel of Fortune. This one, the colors are just so stark. It's difficult with the shading to even see what's going on. Force instead of strength. You can barely see the numbers up there. She's ripping that lion's mouth open. This lion looks a little more realistic than some of the other in the Marseille tradition. She looks very delicate, and yet she's pulling open the mouth of the lion. And here we have the hangman. And this one, the tongue is sticking out, the fingers are popping out of the shoulders because they're folded behind, the face sort of contorted. The nameless card. Here we have hands and feet and bones and the king, and then just a random person. Blood on the scythe. And then the face, sort of flesh and bones rotting, sickly yellow foreground. The 13th card. Temperance. It's hard to tell if one foot's in the water and one foot's on land. Here we have the devil. Genitals, face on the stomach. Sort of a staring face. We have a sort of a scepter there with two pieces. Bat-like wings. Eyes in the knees. Strange. Half-human, sort of animal. Looks like a woman with the breasts. No breasts. Chained by the neck with tails. Here, just like the Medini deck, there's the person sort of cut off from behind the tower. Other person's falling. And here we have, so this is sort of like, looks like a very direct, almost looks like a shot of wind knocking the top of the tower off. Embers, smoke. Not too much fire though. Maybe that's fire. Doesn't really remind me of lightning though. Here we have the star and that lovely little black bird there that's just there watching, pouring the water on the land, pouring the water on back in the water. This moon card is, I'll say the word sloppy, because I really like picking apart the moon card. Here, you can see that they're looking right at the moon, fending it off from the tide. We have the crab here, with its claws outraised. We have the two towers, and we have the moon, which is has the face and the ripples in the water. The sun. I do like the sun face here. It's very symmetrical. It's classic. We have the two children playing. Sort of not sure what they're doing. We have the rays of the sun. We have the wall. Here we have judgment. Here we have what resembles the back of a monk. And the two people. Man, mustache, woman. And I guess the rotten body of a monk being called by the trumpeter. With the parrot wings, the wind, the rays. This card I'm actually impressed with. This has a couple things going on with it that really, I don't know, it's really nice to me. The heads go off into the top, which is a little different. Here we have the phoenix bird. We have the angel, the little delicate face. The woman, her hair. She has sort of a sword. It looks like it's sheep. She has a covering on. She's not completely naked. We have the wreath. We have a lion, and we have the bull or the calf there. But the delicate face here, the angel, is nice. And then we have the bird with its outstretched. Sometimes it's an eagle. It could be an eagle. I like to think it's maybe a phoenix. Shading on the wreath. And here we have a fool. Always a good card to pick apart. This one, there is no bell that's been pulled off. Here we have this dog, cat thing. It's not fully articulated. It's only like a piece of it. Ripping the pants. Here we have two different parts of land. We don't know if he's going to step over it, step on it. We have the walking staff. The red there could be blood, could be a wound. Bells. The arm coming out, the knapsack. The knapsack is very plain. This almost looks like usually it's decorated, it's got things on it. The headdress, the hat is very ornate. Look, it's got like plaiting in it, it's sweeping. He has this goatee, face is upturned, not a care in the world, not looking where he's going. This fool, I think, is a really successful version of the fool. And we'll go into the swords. This is the order in which I got the cards, so it's always neat to see which suit comes first. Here we have the fancy crown with the plants that have been cut off coming out of it, the hand out of the cloud. It's a red sword. The hilt, curled, the jewel set in it. Jewels in the crown. The flower motif. And swords. Swords always have this sort of triangular shape to them. Interesting flower in the middle. This blue shading is interesting. Here we have the flower, and we have the buds around the flower. Buds with no flower. Here with 10 we have the two swords with 8 locked and woven. And they're crossed at the tip. The page. The knight, he has this huge red sword, whereas the pages, the more metallic looking, this one looks like it's almost soaked in blood. And ornate ground, covering of the horse. It's rather ornate. The whole thing is ornate. He has got the face on his shoulder. Queen. This one looks like she's sort of contemplating the sword, almost scared of touching it. Like she's got it, but she doesn't want to touch the blade itself. And here we have the fancy king, always with the little flourish there, Big hat, ornate, everything is, he's very decorated. He has the scabbard there. He's sitting on a throne, but his legs are kind of thrown off to the side. Very delicate, sort of effeminate look. Really no beard that I can tell. But this is the fancy one. Now we go into coins. Some of the shading there. The flower motif. Here's the Jean-Pierre Payen card, 1713. And this deck was made in Avignon. So not Switzerland, but still in France. We have that lovely shield there. This one's somewhat very vine-like with those leaves. The leaves just sort of curling. They always remind me of acanthus leaves, but I don't know. Crossed red. Here we have the two different flowers. Have yet to open. Now this one's different. The page, the name is on the side, which is different than any other card that I know of in the deck, which is sort of odd. And he has two of the coins. Sort of a sour look on his face, contemplating it, staring at it. The knight does not look like a man, actually looks like a woman, also carrying a club, a wand. Again, the ornate foreground of delicate leaves, like fern-like grass. The horse has an S on its nose. Not sure why. It looks like it is an S, not just an ornament or like a swirl. Here we have the queen with her scepter, contemplating the coin, holding her stomach. The king, his hand resting on a coin, looking forward, crossed legs. Here we have the wands or the batons. Hand coming out, flaming. Like those little fingernails on the hand. So these are always straight, not curved like scimitars. These are a little fancier with little angles on those leaves. Two different flowers there. And two different flowers. And another little flower that's different, that's not been anywhere else in the deck. Leaves. And 10. And here we have the page looking forward, sort of posing with this rod, this wand. Sort of an intense face, a little curl in the hair. The knight. There's that S. Kind of looking there, kind of draped flower motif, the fern-like foreground. The queen. The king, sort of a tense look on his face. He has a formal crown, but this huge hat. Leg is sort of up. This is sharpened to a point. He's sort of pensive. And here we have the Ace of Cups. Here we have something. There's something there, but nothing there. The water, a walled city. The reliquary. Here we have Payen, spelled out there, with this, Two of Cups, sort of the fish dolphin motif. The Three of Cups, always a pleasant card to get. Here we sort of have some sort of ornament or star, flowers. This one you can clearly see. These look sort of empty, those look full. Sometimes you'll see variations on that. Here, this one has liquid in it. Nine and 10. This one has the flower motif there. And here we have the Page of Cups, the covered cup. Sort of the headband, the hat's in the hand, sort of walking along. Here we have the one that's on the box, Chevalier de Coupe. He's holding, I guess, the reins, but there's something there. Foreground, red hoofs. The cup. And here's the queen on the covered cup. She has sort of this thin scepter, sword, formal crown, banner. And here we have the King of Cups. Ornate crown, big hat, a belt. Sort of he's wearing armor. An older guy. Sitting there on his throne. And that is the deck. All the cards of this deck. It's a nice deck. I think it is worth checking out. It's probably not one of the most popular of the Marseille decks, but that, you know, that's okay. If you're collecting them, it's pretty cool. If you notice, I have this new fabric. This is some silk dupioni that I bought scraps of, and I wanted something silk with the cards. I've always been told and read and that if you have black silk, it's very powerful. It's a blocking thing. So if you have a Ouija board or tarot cards, you typically wrap them up to end everything. But green's one of my favorite colors, and it's just so pleasing. So I intentionally washed this and crinkled it up and let it dry. And I like the texture of it, sort of a rough feel. And I took silk thread and finished the edges of it. I did that, finished it yesterday. And I just wanted a smaller cloth for my tarot, just especially darker so they stand out better. And this green actually reminds me of the green in the tarot. So I thought it would be just something nice. I like different backgrounds for things. But anyway, thanks for watching. This was the Jean-Pierre Payen 1713 Tarot, Marseille tradition.